Now to CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham for more analysis on this post from President Trump about a deal, a future deal, or the framework of a deal, as it's being called, on Greenland. Eric, nice to see you. We heard from Trump mere moments ago, and he said, quote, "This deal gets us everything we need." What does that mean?
I think this is the master marketer actually showing and exhibiting his chops as a master marketer. You're right. We don't know what is in this deal, if it is a deal, or if it simply allows for President Trump to save face and walk away. What we do know is that there will not be, at least in the near future, any type of military invasion in Greenland. In addition to that, we know that the tariffs that the president was threatening will also not go into effect as well. So right now, it appears as if there is a standstill on all of this, and Donald Trump gets to save face, which is important for him.
He does talk about the Golden Dome, and he does talk about the entire Arctic region, which for Canadians, as you may imagine, is sending further concerns through the country about what the implications of this deal and its framework may mean for our Arctic region. Do you know what Trump has said about where the Golden Dome may be positioned?
You know, this is important. And I think when the president spoke today and at Davos, and he talked about Greenland being part of the Arctic and part of North America and touching on the Western Hemisphere, well, that is part of the new White House national security strategy, where the president is basically declaring that anything within or that touches the Western Hemisphere automatically belongs to the United States. And that is important because that, again, I think touches directly on Canada and Canada's sovereignty. And while much of the focus, rightfully so, has been on Greenland, as I have said on numerous occasions, the president is not simply prepared to stop at Greenland or at Venezuela, but the president is going to continue to attempt to try to bring more and more regions and sovereign nations under U.S. authority. And I think he's also looking at Canada, which is why I think he spoke out and name-checked Prime Minister Mark Carney for that speech that he gave yesterday.
Yeah, did he ever give him a name check at that? Eric, if we look at the 5 hours, there was a crucial 5 hours today between Trump's long speech in Davos, Switzerland, in front of the leaders of the World Economic Forum, and the post on Truth Social, his social media site, where he says the framework of a deal has been reached. Because 5 hours before that post, he says, and I quote, "All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland." He goes on and on and on. All we're asking for, another quote, is Greenland. So what happened? What happened in those 5 hours that took us from "we need Greenland, Greenland's ours," essentially is what he's saying, to "we've reached the framework of a deal"? Who got to him? What changed in there?
I think many of those leaders in Davos is what got to him. Look, if the president is going to take military action off the table, then that means that there is economic parity between the United States and Europe. We have to remember the total amount of trade between the United States and Europe is more than $1.5 trillion. If not to mention, Europe also is one of the leading nations that controls U.S. debt. So if they call in that debt, if they walk away from those trade agreements, we're talking about an economic collapse, the likes of which the United States has never seen before. And I believe that at some point, someone got to Donald Trump and made that clear to him, to say nothing of the fact that how the United States actually projects its military power is actually through all of those military installations and bases throughout Europe, which is also in Greenland as well. And so if those countries decide to remove the United States, take over those bases, then the United States becomes severely weakened. And I think Donald Trump clearly did not understand that. And I think within those 5 hours, someone made that clear to him.
CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Appreciate your time as always, Eric.
Thank you.